You're looking a little down on luck there, my friend. Would you mind if I decided to help you? If even just for a brief moment. At the very least, allow me to offer you a bit of company for the time being, until the rain dies down. Then I can be out of your hair for good, should you wish for that to happen. It's quite cold out here tonight. The rain isn't helping out much either, I'm sure. Luckily, this abandoned stable you've managed to find can offer us a bit of cover from the elements. No matter how drab it may be, it's still shelter nonetheless. Anything to keep you dry and somewhat out of the storm, am I right? So you've noticed. The only reason I've been able to keep myself dry, despite making my rounds throughout the town and just coming out of the rain myself, is all thanks to the cloak I've been wearing. It was a gift from an old friend of mine, enchanted by him to provide comfort on nights like these back when we'd patrol and travel around with each other. Without getting too into it, the cloak creates a protective barrier around the one wearing it, protecting them from minor inconveniences, such as rain, dust storms, or even living things like bugs. It won't stop anything much larger than that, though. If I were to be caught out in a hailstorm, this would be nothing more than a mere cloak, and it certainly couldn't be considered as a form of armor. All of that being said, if I really wanted to, I could create a stronger barrier of my own using magic. But sometimes it's nicer to let your equipment do the work for you. Speaking of which, I may have something that would help us warm up a bit, light up the area as well. I wouldn't mind being able to look around a bit more. You never know what interesting things or bits of history you might be able to find. Have you ever heard of a grimoire? I'll admit, most people are kept in the dark about them, and they're quite a rare find, even for those who do know about them. Not only are they an ancient relic of the past, but they're also considered to be pretty dangerous in their nature. They're also very, very illegal to own. Using one, if you were lucky enough to find one, could net you a pretty large fine, if not jail time. But that's only if you happen to be found out, of course. Well, if you can keep a secret, would you mind holding on to this for me? It's warm to the touch, right? That there is a grimoire of fire. Unlike many of the other grimoire out there, this one happens to be quite tame. All it does is emit light, give off heat, and if you tear a page out of the book, the page would burst into flames that the caster can use in any way they desire. Despite being rather tame, you can understand why something like this is illegal. While being virtually the same thing as magecraft, a grimoire can be used by anyone or anything. It doesn't require the talents of a sorcerer, or mana like normal spells do, making the grimoire a very unstable item. I believe they were first used in the training of younger sorcerers a few generations back. Something must have happened, and now they're outlawed nearly everywhere. Despite my occupation, I can't really tell you more on the history of why the grimoire has been scorned the way that they have been. There just happens to be no information available, I'm afraid. Like I said, they keep people in the dark about it. So why would I happen to have an item like this in my possession? I suppose an introduction may be good right about now. My name is Morgan, and I'm the head sorcerer for the kingdom. Despite my age, I advise the king, lead the College of Magecraft, and I watch over the Royal Library, which is less exciting than it sounds. Despite all of those titles, I barely do anything but act as a symbol around here. We aren't finding ourselves at war with any other kingdoms, so the king doesn't need my magic or advice. The college runs properly on its own, so they don't need me either. Yet, both of them still insist that I have to stay here within the kingdom, just in case anything was to happen. And that means that the only thing keeping me busy as of late is the library. No one goes there, and it doesn't take much managing or cleaning, maybe once a week at best. It isn't some leisurely place either. The library has one purpose, and that's to house all of the history of the kingdom for the future generations. But there's nothing too interesting in there right now, since, relatively speaking, we're still pretty new. I've been able to gain a fairly decent understanding and overview of the information stored there, though. When you have a lot of time with not much to do, I found solace in being able to read a nearly endless amount of manuscript. After a while of searching and looking over the library, I happened to find this book neatly tucked away. Normally, it would be my first instinct to bring it to the king, see what he would want done with it. But curiosity got the better of me. So, I've been conducting research on the book, figuring out what it can all do while attempting to figure out how it even works. It's definitely given me a new breath of life, as opposed to being trapped here with not much to do. And if not me, who else would fit the qualifications to hold on to and keep this artifact safe? I will eventually tell the king, so don't you worry about that. Even if he does get angry with me, there's not too much he would be able to do with me. Not patting myself on the back or anything, but I'm far too important to the kingdom, to them, to just throw me away for something like this. I know I'm not the only one who's curious about this whole ordeal anyway. I've just been given the opportunity to work with one, so I figured I wouldn't let it go to waste. And that's why I have the grimoire. Now, I wouldn't be showing you this if I didn't have something else in mind. Consider it selfish, but you do intrigue me. While this book will keep me busy for a while, I wouldn't mind a little bit of help along the way. Someone who can assist me with my work while I carry out further experiments. I also believe in the underdog. In this scenario, that would be you. Not to be rude, but you aren't a sorcerer, or a mage of any capacity. Nor are you part of the royal family or court. And while those choices do seem ideal for a position like this, the people that I'd consider to be worthy candidates from the college are oftentimes too confident and gaudy. I find it annoying, and I'd rather not deal with it. Anyway, I'm asking if you would consider being my apprentice for the time being. You don't need to know any magic of your own just yet. I'll eventually train and teach you on how to safely cast spells without causing accidental harm to yourself or others. After we work through the basics, I'll have you take over a few of my duties and we'll go from there. You'll officially be under my care should you accept, and you'll be living with me inside of the castle. Don't worry about any expenses in the future either, as I'll cover them all for you. Sounds nice, right? Why you? Well, I'm not sure exactly. Something about you tells me that you'd be a good fit for the job, though. And if I'm being entirely honest, I've been eyeing you down for the last couple of weeks. You're the only person I'm aware of in the kingdom who has no magic of their own, and seemingly you had no idea of who I was, which is rare and intriguing. I also do like a good challenge every now and then. Like I said before, while my intent is to champion you into something greater than yourself, and quite possibly even me, I'm all but running out of things to do to keep me busy around here. What fun is mentoring a prodigy? I wouldn't be gaining any enjoyment out of that, so maybe it's my selfish nature that's drawing me towards you. Regardless, you are very interesting to me. That, and you are my first choice when it comes to potential successors. You could be a hero of your own right to the kingdom under my mentorship. If that's something you would want, of course. I know it's quite the ask, especially coming from a complete stranger. Putting my titles and qualifications aside, you've only just met me a few minutes ago. I don't expect an answer from you now, but I would like it if you would at least consider my offer. There's no need to rush things, as all I've got is time. It's getting pretty late, though. How would you like to come along with me back to the castle? I have a warm place for you to stay, dry clothes for you to change into, and plenty of food if you're hungry. You won't have to stay out here by yourself, and I'd be more than happy to take care of you while you're visiting, at least for the night. Once we get you settled, I'll be staying up a bit more to work with the grimoire in my quarters. You can join me if you'd like, but you'll have to keep everything you see completely confidential. If you accept my offer, I'll allow you to work with me, and we'll begin your training immediately. Then, I'll inform the king, and you'll officially be deemed as my apprentice, but, again, give it some thought. Let's get going.